Hello everyone, for today's viewer-made malware we are taking a look at EscalationBomb, a Trojan written by bigol Tauri. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, but this one's pretty cool and utilizes an exploit to avoid user account control prompts, so it's able to run, infect the machine, and do its payloads all without any interference from the UAC. So we can go ahead and run it. It comes in an exe called itisfine, and when we open it, it is already run. It has infected the machine. We don't get any prompts. We don't get any security warnings. It utilizes that bug and basically just infects your machine from the get-go, and has a few payloads that activate on a few different days, so we'll go ahead and take a look at those. First activates on the 1st of every month, so we'll go ahead and change the date to October 1st. Alright, and with the date change, we'll go ahead and reset and see what it does. So this first payload uses a random number generator and basically takes whatever window is open and randomly puts it into your desktop background, which causes things to get pretty chaotic pretty quickly. So we can't see anything happening yet, but when we open a window, we should very shortly see something begin to happen. Oh, there we go. Alright, it's tweaking out. If we open Explorer, it does the same thing with Explorer. If we close that, open up the Start menu again, we can see it changing our window rapidly to our Start menu background. Same thing happens with the calculator. As we can see, it's going pretty nuts here. I apologize in advance for the flashes of white. Hopefully you're not sensitive to seizures, which is why there's the warning in the title of the video. Alright, the next payload activates on the 2nd of every month, and it's a similar desktop changing payload. However, it's a bit more procedural. It is not randomly generated. If the computer stops lagging long enough for us to change the date, we will take a look at it. This machine is very slow right now. Okay, so we've changed the date to the 2nd of October now, and we will see the next background changing payload that this Trojan activates, where instead of being randomly generated in the background, it sort of undulates through sort of a wave-like pattern based on whatever window you have open. So we should see that begin shortly, as we saw last time. There we go. It is picked up on our Start menu here, and we are just kind of cycling through the background here. I can't seem to right click and open a context menu. Here we go. Now we have one from the taskbar added into our Start menu background, which is very slowly taking over everything here. According to the write-up, it's supposed to block Task Manager, but it apparently is still working here, and we can see that the Trojan is using nearly 100% of the CPU power, which is causing this to lag quite a bit. Here we can see the calculator creeping into our new background. And the last desktop changing payload activates on the 3rd of every month, when it performs a rather classic trick that some of you may have pranked colleagues with, or maybe students at your school. Okay, we're booting up here on the 3rd of October. This is the last desktop changing payload before we take a look at the very last payload, which is pretty cool in this Trojan. So here, as soon as the Trojan loads up in its startup menu, we should see our desktop change. There we go. So what this does is every time you open a window, it takes a screenshot and sets that as your desktop. So one very fun thing to do if you haven't tried it, especially if somebody has a bunch of icons on their computer, on their desktop, and they really don't know how to use it, so you take that screenshot and then you remove all the icons from the desktop, And so they'll try and click on the picture, that's their new background, but they can't click on anything because there's no icons. So that's what this does. If we move this here, we have a new icon. And it just kind of multiplies as we do things. So we can see the Trojan is doing things. I can't actually close this because it doesn't exist. See, it's confusing me already. If we open the Start menu, this should be added. The only thing about it is that it's a bit lower quality. I'm assuming it's saving as a JPEG, and it's losing a bit of that definition every time it does this. And one cool thing you can do is if you use the task view, it fades out your computer entirely, which is pretty neat, as it takes a screenshot of the darkened background and then takes a screenshot of that, and very slowly it fades out of view as it gets darker and darker. And if we press it again, it should come back. Yep, looks like it came back, except now we're missing our desktop, but that's okay. And so yeah, that's what this one does. It's pretty neat. Kind of annoying if you weren't expecting it, but neat nonetheless. And now let's take a look at the last payload of this Trojan. Okay, so this last payload actually uses an exploit in a Windows update that enables it to gain system-level privileges from an underprivileged user or application. So this was actually patched, I guess, in the version of Windows 10 that I was using. So we are using Windows 7 Professional with no service packs. So we're just going to go ahead and run it here. We'll infect the machine, and this one activates on Friday the 13th. So we'll go ahead and change the date to May 13th, which is a Friday. And we will see what it does when we restart. Okay, so as we boot up here, the Trojan loads up, since this is the Friday the 13th. And if it activates properly, there we go, it actually ejects your C drive. So nothing inherently too dangerous, but if it did this at the right time, it could corrupt a boot file or something like that, which would be a pain to try and fix. And as we can see here, nothing is really displaying properly in our My Computer. We can't open Explorer, we can't open Chrome because it can't find it because your C drive is no longer attached to the machine. Buttons don't work. We can right click. We can still get in properties, but it's kind of looking like Windows 95 in here. We got some checkboxes, I don't know what they do. Our properties menu is like 10,000 pixels tall and I can't see the bottom of it. So things are pretty messed up. So if it were to corrupt something, it would be dangerous, but other than that, it's not too bad when it ejects the C drive, as long as you get lucky and it doesn't corrupt anything. So that is about it for the EscalationBomb Trojan. Thank you, bigol Tauri, for writing and sending this in. If you would like to submit your own to be featured in one of these videos, please check out the links in the description and follow the guidelines on my forums. So thank you again for watching. Take care. So as we can see here, we have actually completely bricked the machine, because as I said, I mean, it's not inherently dangerous, but if the C drive is ejected when it's trying to do something important, this can happen. You can get pretty good corruption. We have a boot loop here that is not fixed without at least running startup repair, so it can be dangerous to eject the C drive when you're using it. You know, who'da thunk it? But that is about it for the EscalationBomb Trojan. Thank you, bigol Tauri, for sending this one in and writing it. It is very cool. And if you'd like to get your own Trojan potentially featured in this series of viewer-made malware, please check out the links in the description and read the guidelines on the forums. And that is about it. Thank you for watching.